Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Praptasya Kalyana Gurunanavasya Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravinda Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravinda Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravinda Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita. How to play this? Romanchakam Pasu Taranga Bhajo Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravindam Romanchakam Pasu Taranga Bhajo Vande Gura Shri Shri Vigrahara Dana Nitya Nana Shringaratanma Niramajanado Shri Joktasya bhaktam sa niyonjatapi Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravindam Joktasya bhaktam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Satana Triptan Hari Bhakta Shanga Chaturvidha Bhagavat Prasado Satana Triptan Kridvaiva Tripte Bhajata Shadeva Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravindam Shiradikama Bhavayara Para Madhura Lila Gunarupanamna Pratikshana sa nanalolupasya Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravindam Vande Gura Shri Charana Ravindam Ne kunjayo no Ratikeri Siddhai Jayali Vir Joktir Apekshaneya Nekunja Yuno Ratike Siddhai Tatratidaksha Ativalabhasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Sakshat Haritena Samasta Shastre Uktas Tatha Bhavyataiva Sadvi Sakshat Haritena Shastre Bhavyataiva Kintu Praborja Priya Eva Tasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Kintu Prabharja Vande Gurashi Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasadan Nagati Kutapi Yasya Prasada Dayam Stuvantasya Yasatistandhyam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Dhyayam Stuvamstasya Yasastrisandhyam Vande Gurashi Dhyayam Stuvamstasya Yasastrisandhyam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Dhyayam Trisandhyam Vande Gurashi Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nibishesha Shunavadi Pachatyari Shatarine Saraswati Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nibishesha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Yadaye Namah, Krishna Jadavaye Namah, Jadavaye Madhavaye Keshavaya Namah, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan, Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita, Shri Rupa Sanatan Pataraguna, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhav, Radha Nila Madhav Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadrama, Jaya Sudarshan Chakra. Jaya Sitaram, 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 Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Pramanande, Haribo. Jai Vishwapar Paramahansa Prabhupada Acharya Sutra Shrimad Iskon Pratishta Viviti Sansa Bhattacharya Vaishnava Saramana Paura Prajna Krishna Prema Bhakti Bhavana Mangle Savacharabhina Bhakti Viranta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Vargapati Udhara Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhakti Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Guna Sadguru Swami Prabhu Ki Jai नामाचार्य शैल हरिदास ठाकुर जी की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय जय परम दयाल से नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय जय प्रणाम संकीर्तन के जनक प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिनंदन श्रीमान गौरंग चैतन्य महाप्रभु गौर हरि मावरण अवतार की जय गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय Yoga Dharma Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Brihatandanga Transcendental Book Distribution Seva ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopna Radha Kund Samakund Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrajabhum Vrindavan Mathurudham ki jai. The Lordship Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava ki jai. Shri Shri Maya Purnavadip Eka Chakradham ki jai. Paramakaruna Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Shri Purushottama Kitra Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Swami Baladev Prabhu Srimati Subhadra Dev Krishna Chakra Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakti Sarva Vigna Vinashana Kanu Shingare Bhagavan ki jai. Jaganga Mai Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Maharani Vrinde Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Purushmati Radharani ki jai. Shri Ananda Mela Mahotsava ki jai. All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories to the assembled bodies. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Haribo. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Pralada da 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 ine. Pralada la da 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 ine. Hiranyakashipu Bhaksha Silatang Kanakalaye Ito Nisingo Parato Nisingo Ito Nisingo Parato Nisingo Jato jato jamitato nisinga Bair nisinga Hrudaye nisinga Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamala Bare Nakam Arabhutta Stinga Dalita Hiranyakasipu Dhanabringa Kesavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Tavakara Kamala Vare Naka Arabhutta Stinga Dalita Hiranyakasipu Dhanabringa Kesavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Kesavadruta Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Kesavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jai Jagadisha Re Jayo Nishingade Jayo Nishingade Nishingade Jayo Nishingade Jayo Narahari Jaya Narahari Narahari Jayo Narahari Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha Jayo Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Pralanara Pralanara Bhakta Pralan Jaya Pralanara Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. जय श्री श्री भक्ति पद सर्व विघ्न विनाशना कनिष्ठ हरे भगवान की जय। भक्त श्रेष्ठ प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। निताय गौर हरि प्रमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। श्री वृंदाई तुलसी दिवाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी शतवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाई तुलसी दिवाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी शतवताय नमो नमः। वृंदायै तुलसी देवै प्रियै केशव सत्य कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी शतवताय नमो नमः। जिस्मति तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावा एया विलासी। राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावा एयो विलासी। जे तुम्हारा शरणला तारा वंशा पूर्ण। जे तारा वंशा पूर्ण कृपा करे कर तारे वृंदावनवासी। तुम्हें कृपा करे कर तारे वृंदावनवासी। मोराया विलास कुंज दियोवा। मोराया Nayane ribo sada jugala ruparasi amina. Eni vedana dhara sakirano gata koro. Sevaya de koroni e koroni jadasi. Dina Krishna das se koi e enamorao. Shri Radha Govinda preme sadaye navasi. Shri Radha Govinda preme sadaye navasi. Tulasi Krishna preyasi namo namo. Yani kanisha papane brahmatari kanisha paritane pranasanti pradachina pare pare. Yani kanisha papane brahmatari kanisha paritane pranasanti pradachina pare pare. Yani kanisha papane brahmatari kanisha tani tani prana shanti pradakshina pare pare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi, Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Shri Vrindai Tulasi Devi Priya Kesava Sutta Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Sattvatai Namo Namah. Vrindaye Tulasi Bhai Priyaye Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prani Devi Shatabhaktaye Namaha. Vrindaye Tulasi Bhai Priyaye Kesava Satya Krishna Bhakti Prani Devi Shatabhaktaye Namaha. Jeshmati Tulasi Maharani Brinda Devi Ki Jai. Oh Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of His wishes fulfilled. Bestow your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavana. My desire is that you also grant me a residence by the groves of Shri Vrindavana. Last year, my vision of always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Kavadevis and Bhojraj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very forward and holy service of Krishna praise. May I always swim with love, Shri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sikhastakam Ki Jai. Cheto Darpana Mahajana Mahadavani Nivapana Shri Akari Vachandi Kavitaranam Vidya Vadhu Jivanam Ananda Buddhivardhanam Padiparam Purnamrita Shadanam Sarvatmasnam Parampadre Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Gaudha Ida Sarva Shakti Takrapita Niyamita Shmarane Nakala Ita Rushi Tava Kripaya Bhagavanamati Durthaivam Idrishamyajani Anuraga Vinarapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishnana Amanina Amanadena Kitanya Sadahari Adhanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagarisha Kamaye Mama Janmane Janmaneshwari Bhavatar Bhakti Raituki Tvai Oi Nandatanuja Kinkaram Paritamam Visame Bhavam Buddho Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Sitatuli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galora Shrudharaya Vadanam Gadagadarudaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Bakukada Tavanamagrane Bhavisati Jogaitam Nimishena Chakrusha Prarusaitam Sunyaitam Jagata Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Asli Shava Padaratam Pinashtuma Adarshanar Marmahatam Karotuva Jata Tathava Vidadhatulam Pato Matranatastu Saivana Para Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sikhi Hastakam Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutari Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamina Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharini Nivrishesha Sunavadi Pasatyari Satari Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvi Namaha. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana. which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years, and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus we have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govind. In these transcendental names, you have invested with your transcendental energies. They are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than straw in the street, one should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your cause of divorce from service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I am falling in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes will be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? Or will my voice choke up, and will the hairs of my body stand on the end of the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and it sure remains so, even if sandals me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Kyastakam Ki Jai. There are 10 offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that should be avoided. They are as follows. 1. Blaspheme, the devotees who dedicate a life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider the names of the demigods, the Lord Shiva or Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or the scriptures pushing a Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities in the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are often Vedas as relative activity, karma kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person by the glories of the holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in chanting the holy names and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against the influences in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prem. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees, they can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Devancha kulpatarubhascha krupa sindhu Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Shri Guru Pranam Mangala Charan Ki Jai. Om Agyanatiim Mirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Darati Swaparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jyotapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vintam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पादं सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च नमः ओं विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनेति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवीं गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यरीशतारिणे नमः ओं विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती इति नामिने श्री वर्षभानुवि देवी दैतया कृपब्धये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दैने प्रभवे नमः मधुर्जुजल प्रेमाध्य श्री रूपनुग भक्तिदा श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणे श्रीमूर्धैरिनतारिणे रूपनुग विरुद्धापुसिदंत द्वंतहारिणे नम गौरकिशोराय सक्षवीरज्ञमूर्तये विप्रलम्भार संबोधे परमभुजायते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंदनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपनुगवरायते गौरविर्भावभूमिस्वं निर्देश सजना प्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्वेषे नमः पंचतत्त्वमकं कृष्ण भक्त रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारो भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्ति शक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते जयतं सुरतुपंगु ममन्दमतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्य परं भोजो राधा मदनमोहनौ दिव्यवृन्दरण्यकल्पद्रुमधा स्मरनगरसिंहासनस्थो स्मराधाशिरगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ठलिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरमे स्मरन्रासरसरम्भि वंशिवात ततस्थिता कर्षन्वेणुस्वाम्यर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथश्रियेस्तु न तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री गुरु प्रणाम मंगल चरण की जय श्री ब्रह्म संगीत की जय ईश्वरा परमा कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंद सर्वकारण कारणम चिंतामणि प्रकट सद्म सुकल्प वृक्ष रक्ष विदेश शूरभीरभिपालयन्तम लक्ष्मी सहस्रशत संभ्रम सेव्यमानम गोविंदम आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि वेणुक्वनन्तमरविन्ददयालचक्षुं वारम्वतः समसितं बुधसुन्दरं कन्दार्पकोटिकमनीयविशेषशोभं गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आलोलचन्द्रकलसाद्वनमल्यवंशि रन्नाङ्गदं प्रणयकेलिकलविलासं श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियताप्रकाशं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अङ्गानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पन्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मयसदुज्ज्वलविग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अद्वैतमच्युतमनादिम् अनन्तरूपम् आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं न भजौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमदुर्लभम् आत्मभक्तो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि पन्थास्तु कोटिसर्वसरसम्प्रगाम्यो वायुरतापि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवान्यं सोऽप्यस्ति यत्प्रपदसिंहविचिन्त्य तत्त्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि एकवाप्यसो रजजितुं जगनन्दकोटिं यक्षाक्तिरस्ति जगनन्तचया जगन्तम् आधान्तरस्तपरमानुचयन्तरस्तं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यद्भावभावितधियो मनुजस्तथैव सम्प्राप्य रूपमहिमा सनयानभूष्य शुक्तिर्यमेव निगमं प्रस्थितैस्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसा प्रतिपादिताभिस्ताभिय एव निजरूपतया कलाभिः गोलोक एव निवसत्यलक्ष्मभूतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं भजामि प्रेमाञ्जनाचोरितभक्तिविलोचनेन सन्धा सदैव हृदयेषु विलोयकन्ति जं श्यामसुन्दरमचिन्त्य गुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि रामादिमूर्तिषु कलानि यमेन तिष्ठन् नानावतारमकरोत् भुवनेषु किन्तु कृष्ण स्वयं समभवत् परमं पुमन्यो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्या प्रभा प्रभजतु जगनन्तकोटि कोट्यश्वशेषवसुधारि विभूतिहीनं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि मायाय्या स जगनन्दशतानि सूते त्रिगुणतद्विषयवेदवितायमानं सत्त्वबलं विपरसत्त्वं विशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसात्मतया मनस्सु यत्प्राणिनां प्रतिस्फलं समुपमुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनम्नि निजदम्नि तले सतस्य देवी महेश हरिधामसु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहितश्चयेन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि श्रीत्रिष्टिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका चयेन यस्य विभवानि विभाति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य यशस्ते स गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि कीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते नैतथा पृथगस्तु हेतु सशम्भुतं ततः समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि देपार्चिरेव ईश सन्तरमामुपेत्य दीपायिते विवृतिहेतु समानधर्म यत्रिद्रग एव च विनुताया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यकर्णनर्जले भजति स्म योगा निद्रम् अनन्तजगनन्तसरोमकूप आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परं समूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्वेकनिश्वसत्कल अतवलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलज जगनन्दनाथः विष्णुर्महान् य यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि भस्मन् यतस्म सकलेषु निधिष्ठतेज स्वीयं किया प्रकृतय जशति त्वदत्र ब्रह्माय एष जगनन्द विधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि द्वेन्द्रे प्रणाम समये जगदाधिराज विघ्नं विहान्तु मलयस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि अग्निर्मयी गगन अम्बुमरुचिसज्ज कालास्तधर्म विनश्यति जगत्त्रयानि यस्माद्भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यच्चाक्षुरेश सविता सकलग्रहाणां राजा समस्तसुरमूर्तिमशेषतेज जज्ञया ब्रह्मति संवृतकालचक्रो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि धर्मो तपापनिचया श्रुतयस्तपंसि ब्रह्मादिकीतपदगादवदश्च जीव यदातमात्रविभव प्रकृता प्रभाव गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि जतीन्द्रगोपमतवीन्द्र अहो स्वकर्म बन्धानुरूपफलभाजन अत्तनोति कर्माणि निर्दहन्ति किन्तु च भक्तिभाजन् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यं क्रूरकामसहजा प्रणयादिभीति वत्सार्यमोहगुरगौरविसेव्यभावे सचिन्त्यता सद्रिं पुरेते गोविन्दम् आदिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि श्रेयकन्तकन्तपरमपुरुषकल्पतरवो द्रुमभूमिचिन्तमणिगणमयी त्वयममृतं Kataganam Rityam Gananam Api Vamsipriya Saki Chirananda Jyoti Paramapi Tarajotradyamam Api Sayatra Kirabi Swasti Visvicha Sasumahan Nivisardakyo Yavrajati Nahi Jatrapi Swaman Bhajisvi Tadvipam Tam Aham Iya Golokam Itim Vedantas Te Shanta Kiriti Virala Charakati Paye Shara Parama Krishna Sakchirananda Vigrana Dira Dira Savakara Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Guru Vastakam Prayers Translation. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just as the cloud pours water in the forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the material afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments, the spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan moment of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end, he feels quivering in his body, and tears from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean the temple, and perform other similar worship with the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food, analyze that which licked, chewed, drank, and sacked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasad, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhav, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these in every moment. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who in different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavan. I offer my most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servant of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lord to such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master. At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Jai Padit Pavana Srila Gurudev Jai Srila Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Gaurari Pramanandi Hari Hari Bo Hare Krishna. So again, we're going to follow our daily routine. That is, we're going to read from Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam. That is our daily protection, our daily taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, who is no different from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yatam vayaritarataschat tirshvavigya swaratene brahma hridaya adhikavayemo jantija suraya tejo varimridhan jata vinimayo jatra trisragurmusya damna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyang paramadhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in the fire or land seen in the water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma Pujita Kaitavutran Samparam Vedyam Vastavam Astravasu Sivadam Taputa Yamanam Shamar Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kim Vaparirishvara Radyus Sadyurudya Vradyatit Kibri Shushubi Tatkanat Nigamakalpatoror Galitam Palam Sukhamukhar Mridaturava Sangitam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Uraho Rasika Bhuvibavuka. Rejecting all religious activities which are material motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds a high truth which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. The highest truth is the reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such a truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity is sufficient itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. O expert and thoughtful men, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanating from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated soul. Shramvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantastu Hiya Bhadrane Vidu Noti Suristatam. To hear about Krishna from the Vedic literatures or to hear from it directly through the Bhagavad Gita, it is self-righteous activities. And for one who hears about Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's hearts, acts as the best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing with him. Nasta prashya bhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati nestiki. Thus, the devotee naturally revives his dormant love, and as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in devotional service to the Lord. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo basdayaschayi chetaitera navidam stiti sabve prasidati. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion of ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. Evam prasanamanaso bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangha sajayate. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate is remained steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Vidyate rudaya grantis chidyanti sarva samshaya chanti chasha karmani drusta evan manishwari. Thus, the Bhakti Yoga serves the harm of the material affection and enable one at once to come to the stage of Asamsham Samagramam, understanding the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Jai. So, Kantara Shma Bhagavatam ki Jai. So, reading from Shma Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 4, verse 28. This is the same verse because we don't want to go ahead of Maharaj, so we're going to discuss on this verse. There's so much unlimited thing to say, It is said that one verse, Shmara Bhagavatam, can be explained in unlimited ways. So, yes, we're going to read and trying to, um, you know, trying to point out, mention whatever the um, the teaching of this verse has been imparted according to the original verse and the purport of Srila Prabhupada, the divine grace Srila Prabhupada. So, Rajo Vacha Nidanamopagadeshu Vrishnim Bhojesh Nanam Pragadeshu Vrini Adi Rata Yutapa Yutapishu Mukhya Satu Katam Vajishista Udavaya Satu Katam Avashista Udavaya Dari Rapit Tatyajak Akritim Chadrisha Nidanamopagadeshu Vrishni Bhojesh Adirata Yutapa Yutapish Mukhya Satu Katam Avashista Udavaya Dari Api Tatyaja Akritim Tyadisha Nidanamopagadeshu Vrishni Bhojesh Adirata Yutapasya Yutapish Mukhya Adirata Yutapa Yutapish Mukhya Satu Katam Avashista Udavaya Satu Katam Avashista Udavaya Dari Rapita Tyaja Akritim Tradisha Akritim Tyadisha. Word for word meanings. Rajavacha, the king inquired. Nidhanam, distraction. Upagadishu, having overtaken. Vrishni, of the Vrishni dynasty. Bhojashu, the Bhoja dynasty. Adiratha, great commander. Yutapa, commander-in-chief. Yutabeshu, amongst them. Mukhya, prominent. Saha, he. Two, only. Katam, how. Avashishtaha, remained. Udhava, would have. Yat, whereas. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Epi, also. Tatyaje, finished. Akritim, complete pastimes. Tri Adishaha, the Lord of the three worlds. Jays. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada. The king inquired at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties, who were the best of the great commanders, why did Uddhav alone remain? So, translation. Then, the king inquired, altogether, the king inquired, at the end of the pastimes of the Lord of the three worlds, Sri Krishna, and after the disappearance of members of Vrishni and Bhoja dynasty, who were the best of the great commanders, why did Uddhava alone remain? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Sri Jiva Goswami, Nidhanam means the transcendental abode of the Lord. Ni means the highest, and Dhanam means opulence. And because the abode of the Lord is the highest manifestations of transcendental opulence, his abode can therefore be called Nidhanam. Apart from the grammatical elucidation, the real purpose of the word Nidhanam is to indicate that all the members of the Vrishni and Bhoja dynasties were direct associates of the Lord. And after the end of his pastimes, all the associates were dispatched to their respective positions in the transcendental abode. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur elucidates the meaning of Akritim as pastimes. A means complete, and Kritim means transcendental pastimes. Since the Lord is identical with his transcendental body, there is no question of his changing or quitting his body. To act in accordance with the rules and customs of the material world, the Lord seems to take his birth or leave his body, but the pure devotees of the Lord know well the actual facts. It is necessary, therefore, for the serious students of Srimad Bhagavatam to follow the notes and comments of the great acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti. To others who are not devotees of the Lord, the comments and explanations of such acharyas may appear to be grammatical jugglery, but to the students who are in the line of disciplic succession, the explanations of the great acharyas are quite fit. The word Upagadeshu is also significant. All the members of Vreni and Bhoja directly reach the abode of the Lord. Other devotees do not reach the abode of the Lord directly, but the pure associates of the Lord have no attraction for the opulence of any planets of the material world. Sometimes, due to inquisitiveness, the devotees who are to be promoted to the abode of the Lord have some attraction for the opulence of the higher material planets above the earth, and thus they desire to see them while going up to the perfection. But the Vrishnis and Bhojas were directly dispatched because they have no attraction for material planets. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also suggests that according to the Amarakosh dictionary, Akriti also means signal. Lord Krishna ordered Uddhav by signal to go to the Badarika Ashram, should be Badrika Ashram, after his departure, and Uddhav, as a pure devotee of the Lord, carried out the order more faithfully than going back to Godhead or the abode of the Lord. That was the cause of his remaining alone even after the departure of the Lord from the face of the earth. So, this verse is very, very substantial. It's got so many important points according to the verse itself and the elaborate purport of Srila Prabhupada. So here we can see the king, that's meant Parikshit Maharaj, inquired from his spiritual master, who is Shukadeva Goswami. The entire Bhagavatam is actually based on questions and answers. Because in spiritual life, our spiritual life begins when one becomes very inquisitive. It's quite natural. We all need to know, and we do inquire from superiors, personalities, like teachers, our parents, when we are just kids. The parents are our first teachers. We always ask them, Mom, what is this? Dad, what is this? Why it is so? Because until we understand the Supreme Person of Godhead, we have so many questions, we need to know so many things. But again, it is said, what's the verse? Yasmin sarve vigyatam, evam vigyatam bhavati. Yasmin, Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati means that when we know Krishna, everything is known. Everything is known. So until we know Krishna, until we understand Krishna, we still have so many questions to ask. Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara Parama, Krishna Sakchit Ananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarvakarana Karanam. Brahma Sangita says, Krishna is Ishvara Parama, Supreme Controller. He is Sakchidananda. Krishna is the embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, pleasure. He is Rasavaisaha. He is Anandamaya Vyasat. It's the embodiment of pleasure. So, he is Satchidananda. He doesn't have material body. His body is transcendental. Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. Our body is Supreme Lord transcendental. Anadiradir Govinda is the origin of everything. Anadir, Adir, Govinda. Himself has no beginning. He's beginningless. Yet he is the beginning of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam, and the cause of all causes. That's what we understand from the authoritative, authorized scripture like Brahma Sangita by Lord Brahma. That's a Krishna. So Krishna is unlimited. His creation is unlimited. Everything about the Supreme Lord is unlimited. Therefore, without knowing Krishna, we have so many things to know. We ask so many questions. Therefore, they said, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam, Evam Vigyatam Bhavati. So knowing whom everything is known. If once we understand Krishna, we know Krishna, then we know everything. Because Krishna is everything. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, to me Shwarishwara Brajendra Kumar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, to me Sarveshwarishwara Brajendra Kumar. O Brajendra Kumar Krishna, you are Ishwara of all the Ishwaras. So every living entity, being part and parcel of Krishna, has a controlling capacity. One can control his own self. One can control his entourage, like the parents, they control the children. The master controlling his servants. And this way we go up to the most elevated, beings of this material world, the demigods and heavenly planets. who are the agents of the Supreme Lord to manage universal affairs. They're controlling. Well, we have a demigod who controls the heat, the light, water, the wind, everything. But if you go up, then Krishna is the final controller. He controls all the other controllers. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, to me, Sarveshwarishwara Brajendra Kumar. O Brajendra Kumar Krishna, you are the Ishwara, or the controller of all other controllers. So Krishna is the summum bonum. When we know Krishna, everything is known. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam was saying is based on question and answers, because we can see in all the chapters of Bhagavatam, we see always there is a student and a master. The student is inquiring from his master. We see the sage of Naimisharanya from the beginning of Bhagavatam, the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shanaka Rishi. They're inquiring from the spiritual master, Sutta Goswami. And Sutta Goswami himself is the student of Shukadeva Goswami, and he is repeating exactly the entire Bhagavatam, exactly as it was narrated by his spiritual master, because he listened to him, Shukadeva Goswami. So what's the Bhagavatam? The original Bhagavatam is Shukadeva Goswami answers the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. And we know the story behind him, behind it. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed, to quit his body within a week, 7 days. And again, he has so many questions. And his major question was, how could he attain the supreme goal of life? So, like the different beings in this world, different human beings, I would say, they make inquiries. They inquire from others. But according to the level of consciousness, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says they are all together in the entire creation. There are 5 levels of consciousness. The Abhuta Chaitanya, the covered consciousness, and Shrunka Chaitanya, that is shrunken consciousness. So those 2 levels of consciousness, fully covered consciousness and shrunken consciousness, these 2 levels of consciousness are for the 8 million species of life other than the human beings. So we know the 8,400,000 species of living entities, this material world. So out of this, there's only 400,000 species of human beings. But the rest, 8 million, are other low species like trees, mountains, aquatics, and so on, other than human beings. So their level of consciousness is so degraded, they can never understand, the transcendental knowledge, or they have no idea, about the real identity. Therefore, it is said those species, animals like low species, they are always engaged in sense gratification. That's the dharma. So therefore, it is says sense gratification is actually for low species of life. by the grace of the Lord, when those low creatures attain human form of life, the human form of life is much less gift of the Supreme Lord. It's a golden opportunity, because in the human form of life, we can actually, our human consciousness is highly elevated compared to those species of life. Why it is so? Because any human being has or human consciousness. They can make inquiry about the ultimate goal of life. They can try to solve the problems. They can discuss about everything about this world. Why, for instance, why are we here? Why are we suffering? What is the goal of life? What's going on in this world? We can see that every day, every moment, individually, collectively, socially, politically, scientifically. We're always making these inquiries as human beings, because we have this level of consciousness by the mercy of the Lord. Still, human beings have 3 levels of consciousness. So saying the 2 first level of consciousness for the animals, and the human beings have, among the living human beings, they have 3 levels of consciousness. What's it called? Mukulita Chaitanya, or body consciousness. Because Chaitanya means consciousness, of course, So Mukulita Chaitanya means budding consciousness, budding like the flower bud, like rose. The flower begins, like that, like a bird, and then gradually start blossoming. Then Bikacheta, blossom, and Purna Bikacheta means fully blossom consciousness. This is among human beings. So this is to say that every human being, regardless of his conditioning, he has a birthright to understand God. Because the flower bud does remain always bud. It's there to blossom. That's what it is. So even the bud is blossom. So if your consciousness, human being, is that low, degraded, it can blossom. Just like the flower bud can blossom and it becomes fully blossom. See, this is our philosophy. Every human being can raise his level of consciousness, provided he has good association, provided he has given opportunity, to raise his level of consciousness. See, that's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Krishna Chaitanya, because he is the consciousness. He's consciousness personified. As we know that in all the forms of the Lord in his pastimes, his human form is obviously the best. So therefore, when a living entity acquires this material body, human form of life, he can understand God. He can understand God, he can understand his pastime, he can enter the pastime of the Lord, because the Lord manifests pastime in human form. See, that's why human form is privilege. We have that privilege to inquire, to know about the ultimate goal of life, perfection of existence. So therefore, Chaitanya consciousness is very important here. When we have this human consciousness, we have this tendency to know about the creation, about everything, especially about God. So now, when a living entity or human being is in the body consciousness, he may make some inquiries regarding, sense gratification. And we can see that in the society, especially in this age of Kali. People are making inquiries how to enjoy more and more, to get better enjoyment, And the leaders of this society, because this is Kali Yuga, they are all corrupt, and they don't know. They don't know themselves. So, Prabhupada used to say this, especially nowadays, the society is society of cheated and cheaters. The so-called leaders, they don't know anything. They're just cheating people. And the people, they're happy to be cheated. But then, after some time, they realize they've been cheated. And then, there's so many protests, so many revolutions, like this. But then you have human beings whose consciousness is more elevated. They make some inquiries about beyond this sense gratification. That we call them like Gyanis, some philosophers, psychologists. They want to know things which are a little bit above gross sense gratification. And especially in a Vedic Vedic system, you have a Gyanis. They know the sense gratification is very, very low. It's not really meant for human beings. Sense gratification actually is meant for the animals, low species. They're very expert in sense gratification. And they do gratify the senses to the maximum. See, a human being, when he tries to gratify senses, he has fear. He has fear. His anxieties. Oh, if I do this, I'm gonna get arrested. I'm gonna get caught up, or I'm shy to do this and that. So the human being can never really enjoy sense gratification because there's so many restrictions are there. And those who are following the Vedic teaching, they find that there's so many restrictions. For instance, in human society, you cannot just enjoy senses like animals. According to the scriptures, there are restrictions. A human being cannot enjoy sex in the open, down the street or in the middle of the road. In a bright daylight. No. A human being, in order to do so, is to undergo, to make some plans, finance apartment, this and that, But the animals, they carefree. They can enjoy anywhere, any place. In that way, they enjoy sense gratification better than human beings, because there's no restriction for them, no anxiety, no worries. A human being gonna have sense gratification, and the greatest sense gratification is material sex life. And a human being, before enjoying sex, you're gonna think, oh, if it is the right person, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go to enjoy with, he's worried about, oh, maybe I'm gonna caught up some disease. Or maybe, this person gonna get pregnant, I'm gonna be in trouble. So I'm gonna take so much responsibilities, this and that. They're full of anxieties. Therefore, the animals are expert in sense gratification than human beings. That's the way of nature. So a human being He's responsible because the animals, they don't get penalized when they do, sinful activities, or they do the nefarious activities. You know, if you two animals having sexual intercourse in broad light in the street, they won't get arrested and punished. But when human beings they do that, definitely, according to the law, they're gonna get arrested. A human being had to go from one country to another. He has to go through the border control. But you see many animals, they're crossing the borders, go up and down. They don't get arrested, they don't get, asked about the, their papers or passport, whatever, visa. So a human being should be responsible. Therefore, human consciousness is a matchless gift of Supreme Lord, but we have a big responsibility. If we misuse this human form of life, we are liable to be punished according to laws of nature. So this is what Bhagavatam is about, to make right inquiries. It's meant for human beings in order to achieve the ultimate goal of life. So that's what we see in Bhagavatam, the questions and answers. Here, King Parikshit Maharaj asking Shukadev Goswami, many questions. This is one of the questions. And why so? Because everything here, we read this verse according to the Acharyas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jiva Goswami. They were speaking about pastimes. Everything here in Bhagavatam, everything we're learning here is the pastime of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited pastimes. He is Lila Purushottama. Lord Krishna is Lila Purushottama, who has unlimited and varieties of pastimes. Nobody can exhibit pastimes of Lord Krishna. His pastimes are unlimited. Therefore, he's Lila Purushottama. Purushottama means he's the best among men, among persons. Purusha means person. So he is the supreme, Purushottama, Uttama, the best. And like I said, he is the cause of all causes. So he can manifest unlimited varieties of pastimes, unlimited pastimes. Just as Lord Ram is called Madhyara Purushottama, he is the supreme personality of Godhead who establishes the Vedic etiquette. He does it at the best. Nobody can. Whatever the Supreme Lord does, nobody can excel him. Nobody can excel him. He is supreme in everything he does. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya is Prema Purushottama, is supreme personality of Godhead who gives love of Godhead. It is clearly said that only Krishna can give this, nobody else. Nobody's before and after, only Krishna. So when Krishna becomes the giver of love of Godhead, that's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's the Prema Purushottama. Only him can do it. So every action of the Supreme Lord are unique. All the activities of the Supreme Lord are unique. That's where we can understand. So the Supreme Lord is always engaged in his transcendental pastimes. These particular pastimes of Lord Krishna, living this material world, is well known. We read this very often in Krishna book. So here, when Lord Krishna was about to wind up his pastimes 5,000 years ago, when he descended here in the Vrishni dynasty, Bhoja dynasty, and some other dynasty that were there. They were allied of Lord Krishna. They were all devotees to Lord Krishna. Some of them, they were pure devotees, directly associated in the spiritual world. Example, we can say like the Pandavas, Uddhava, Krishna's parents. They're all eternal associates, Nitya-siddhas of the spiritual, from the spiritual world. They have no interest in this material world. No interest whatsoever. They only come down here to help the Lord, to assist the Lord in his pastimes. They have no interest in this material world. Although they may be playing the roles of ordinary human beings. Just like the Supreme Lord here, he said, he comes here, he takes birth, and also apparently he leaves the body, but it's all external. Therefore, it is mentioned, this purport by Chopin, the difference between the students who are very serious, who are devoted to the Lord, they understand differently. Therefore, it is said, this knowledge of Bhagavatam, that we said, rejecting all religious activities which are material motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounded the high truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. This knowledge is meant for those who are fully pure in the heart. This knowledge, Bhagavad Dharma, knowledge Bhagavatam, is not meant for ordinary people. Ordinary people, they won't believe in it. They have a doubt. They think this is mythology. But only the devotees who receive this knowledge through the discrete succession, like I was saying yesterday, this knowledge, Vedic knowledge, especially Smart Bhagavatam, is the essence of Vedic knowledge, is the cream, of the Vedic knowledge, is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is the essence of Vedic knowledge. So Smart Bhagavatam is meant for the Paramahamsas. Paramahamsas means swan-like devotees who are completely pure. Swan is amazing. Swan is always in a very clean water, where there's lotus flowers, and the swan is very expert. The swan is known for being expert in extracting milk mixed with the water. The swan is expert to extract just milk, just the nectar. So the devotees are like that. Those Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa means such devotees are very pure. Their devotion is unmixed. Anya bilasita sunam gyana karmani anuvritam anukulyena krishna nusilanam bhakti uttama. So the bhakti uttama for the Paramahamsas. So this Bhagavatam is for them because they are fully pure in the heart. They need Masaram. Need Masaram means they're supremely free from envious. Ordinary living entity is envious. Why have we come in this material world? Because we are envious of Krishna. That's why we have come to this material world. This material world is created for those living entities who are envious of Krishna. They want to imitate Krishna. They want to be themselves Lord. And this goes on, even the Vedantists, they also think they're Narayana. And Prabhupada said that's the last nail of Maya. That's the last nail of Maya. So the real fact is that the associates with Supreme Lord, they are all Nitya-siddhas. Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Gorangera Sangi Gana Nitya-siddha Kormani. Sejani Brajendra Sutra Pans. Narottam Das Thakur says, one should understand the associates of Lord Chaitanya, who is no other than Krishna himself. They are all Nitya-siddhas. One who understands this, he can enter the pastimes of Lord Krishna, Brajendra Nandan Krishna. So those devotees, when they are here, they are pure, and if they hear by the will of the Lord, to bless this world, because they are embodiment of Krishna's mercy, the sadhus, the pure devotees. They are embodiment of Krishna's mercy. They are known as Krishna Kripa Srimurti. They are the divine manifestations of Krishna, Krishna's mercy. Like we sing in the Guru Vastakam. The Spirit Master received in benediction from the ocean of mercy. Just like clouds pours water on the forest fire to extinguish it. So the Spiritual Master delivers the material afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. If you go to Krishna, you are Karuna Sindhu, you are Kripa Moy. Krishna will tell you, you are fool. Yes, that ocean of mercy, I'm Karuna Sindhu, but that ocean is gone down there, that is Spiritual Master Sadhu. He's pouring mercy there, just like a cloud. So, those pure devotees, like Uddhava, Krishna said, Natata prima, Natata, was that verse? Natata me priya, Admajoni, na Shankara, na Shankarshana, na Shri, na Yatma, na Shri, and that verse is there. Well, Lord Krishna said, he tells Uddhava, the Uddhava, no one is dear to me, even Brahma, Shiva, Brahma Joni Brahma, Shankar is Lord Shiva, Sankarshana, Lord Baladev, Shri, my own wife, and my own self. No one is as dear as you are to me, Uddhava. So Uddhava is so dear to Krishna, dearer than Brahma, Shiva, his own brother, Sankarshana, his own wife, Lakshmi, and Krishna's own life, Krishna's own soul. Uddhava is dearer than this. Krishna says this. Like we were talking yesterday, and Uddhava was sent to go to Badrika Ashram. Can we say that Krishna did the wrong thing? That Uddhava didn't go back to the spiritual world? Uddhava is always in the spiritual world. Such a pure devotee, wherever he is, that is spiritual world. Narayana Parasavina Kristana Bibiati, Swarga, what's that verse again? Bhagavatam. It is said that the devotee of Lord Narayana, wherever they may be, in Swarga, in this heavenly planet, Narak, in hellish planet, wherever in Vaikuntha, wherever they may be, they are always situated at the lotus feet of Lord Narayana Krishna. So, where is the question of a pure devotee being separated from the Lord? No. So this is the pastime of Krishna, here, mentioned here. And we're to hear those pastimes from Sadhu Shastra Guru, from the Acharyas. The way they explain those verses, they explain about pastimes or the abode of Krishna. Everything they explain is related to Lord Krishna. But now when we hear this from non-devotees, speculators or impersonalists, they will explain in different way. See here, amazing here, Jiva Goswami said, Nidhana means the transcendental abode of the Lord. Ni means the highest. And Dhanam means opulence. Dhan. Like we said, Golokila Prima Dhan. Dhan is the invaluable wealth. Like Golokila Prima Dhan, Harinam Sankirtan. Golokila Prema. Goloka Prema is Dhana. Because in the Goloka Vrindavan, everything is pure love. Pure love. Amala Priti. No contamination there. So they explain this way. And Vishnu Chakravarti explained that akritim as the pastimes. And kriti means transcendental pastimes. See? So this transcendental pastime Supreme Lord gives pleasure to the devotees. And also, this pastime of the Lord it are in order to instruct the people in this material world. If by chance they come in contact with these pastimes of the Lord, they hear those pastimes, then they can actually revive their eternal loving, perfect, eternal loving relationship with Supreme Lord. They can reestablish the Sambandagyan, knowledge of their relationship with Supreme Lord. So this was the some substance of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is transcendental pastimes of Supreme Lord, and that is explained by all the acharyas, and they know the secret of this. Mahajana Yena Gata Sampatha, where to follow in the footsteps. This Tattva Guyam, this confidential knowledge is in the heart of the acharyas. And if you follow the explanation of the acharya, we believe in the word of the acharyas. And like it is said here that, but the students who are in the line of display succession, the explanations of the great acharyas are quite fit. So, Bhagavatam is full of mellows of bhakti. Every word in Bhagavatam is bhakti. You can see the Acharya explain these words, either Jiva Goswami or Vishwanath Chakravarti. They're always explaining everything about the Lord pastimes. The abode with the Lord. In fact, the Lord is no different from his abode for his pastimes. So this is all Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is the glories. The glories of the Lord is there. So that's a very important Bhagavat Shravan. To hear about Bhagavatam, everything reminds us the Supreme Lord. Every word of Bhagavatam is about is full of mellow bhakti. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarushi Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the mellows of Krishna Prima Bhakti, Bhakti Ras. So, the direct associate Supreme Lord they call Nitya Siddhas. Although they come to this material world, they don't develop any tinge of interest about anything in this material world. Whereas, especially those who are sadhana, bhaktas, they become jivan mukta, then they still have some, curiosity, this material world. Of course, we don't blame them because Krishna is all attractive. Even his material energy is very attractive. Jai Tulsi Maharani ki jai. So yes, Krishna is very attractive. Maya is very attractive too because that's a Krishna too. But the good news is that they may trying to, explore the nature of this world, but ultimately it is said that they will reach the ultimate goal. But therefore, those who are direct associated with the Supreme Lord, they are known as Swarup Shakti. They are known Krishna Swarup Shakti Pushta Parikara. They are parikara. The eternal associate, they are part of the internal potency of the Lord. They can never, at any time, be attracted by anything in this material world. So they must be glorified, even more than the Supreme Lord. And this way, the Supreme Lord gets pleasure. So we stop here. Grantaraj, Bhagavatam, Mahapurana ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj ki jai. Glory Shri Guru Shri Guru. Hare Krishna. Shri Ananda Mela Mahotsav ki jai. Hare Krishna.